Hello everyone, I'm Alexis and welcome to Design Your Life, the 30-day yoga journey, day 21, Root Yourself Like a Tree. The theme today is inspired by the root chakra. So we're going to be doing a lot of standing postures, and I want you to make sure that you do have a block. We're going to be moving through half moon pose later, and I 110% recommend a block for half moon. We're going to begin in Tadasana, in the center of your mat. You can be at the front or you can be in the middle like me. And we're going to come into another mudra. This one is called Murti Mudra. You're going to clasp your hands together and just make sure the right thumb is on top of the left. And then you're going to stick your pinkies out. So here's a close-up. Clasp the hands together, right thumb on top, and stick the pinkies out. And then you're just going to bring this and relax it down. Relax your shoulders and relax your elbows by your sides, and just wherever your hands naturally rest is good. We're going to be holding this for the next couple minutes or so you want to make sure that you're comfortable. If at any point this gets hard to hold, you can just bring your hands into prayer. The cool thing about Murti Mudra is it meshes so well with our theme around the root chakra today. The root chakra, if you're not familiar, is located at the base of your spine, and it symbolizes and recognizes all of the things that we need in life to feel safe, to feel stable. It's essentially Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's the basic level. You need food, you need water, you need rest, you need shelter. The very bare minimum survival things that allow you to move in the world from a place of stability and groundedness. And so our class today is centered around that idea of how do we root ourselves down so that, like a tree, of course, we can feel stable and secure, and also interact with those around us, interact with the world around us, and have touch points with the other beings and other creatures around us. And this mudra, this Murti Mudra that we're holding, I love it because it is a beautiful example of what asana in the 8 limbs of yoga is described as. There's only one sutra in the Yoga Sutras that talks about asana, or our physical postures of yoga. Yoga, of course, is a philosophy. It's a whole package of recommendations for a life well lived, and our movement practice is just one of those. The only sutra in Patanjali sutras that talk about asana talks about this balance between sthira and sukha. Sthira means steadiness, groundedness, strength. Sukha means comfort or ease. And the sutra talks about how in every single pose that we are in, including our meditation seat, which counts as a pose, how can we find security and stability and ease? So there's an inherent element of strength and flexibility in every pose that we do on the mat and every interaction we have off the mat in our life. And I love this mudra because it's almost like a way of balancing those two things. There's the stability of keeping our hands clasped, but then there's also that little bit of flexibility, that little bit of fluidity with our pinkies sticking out. So as you're here in Tadasana with your eyes closed in the mudra, breathe nice and deep. And I want you to think about, where is something in your life? What is something in your life that feels ungrounded, that feels unstable, that maybe feels unsafe? This doesn't need to be a big thing. Of course, if there are big things, seek the proper resources for those. But for today's class, I just want you to hold something in your mind, one small thing, where maybe you feel a little aimless, maybe you feel a little uprooted. We're going to be exploring several postures that help us create stability like roots, and also enable us to find fluidity and ease. You can release the mudra and bring your hands by your sides and just double check your feet. Make sure that they basically look like the number 11. Heels are directly back behind the second and third toes. Maybe rock side to side and just feel how your feet feel on the mat. Do they feel stable? Do they feel secure? Feel the ground underneath you. And then take a big breath in and lift the arms up overhead, and exhale, pull the hands to heart center. Continue making these breaths, and I want you to really focus on how your feet feel on the mat below you. Can you feel one side of the foot more than the other as you're taking these big breaths and opening up through the arms and the shoulders? Beautiful. And take a couple more here. I want you to hold the image of a tree in your mind as we go through this class. That ability to be rooted and also fluid. Beautiful. Exhale, hands to heart center. This is our last one. Big breath in. And exhale, hinge at the hips, bend the knees, and fold forward into your forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, push through the feet, and roll yourself all the way up to standing. Inhaling the arms overhead and exhaling the hands to heart center. Half sun cells. We're just going to do a couple of those. Half sun salutations. Inhaling up, exhaling to fold forward, inhaling to lift up halfway, exhaling down, and then pushing through the feet to inhale yourself all the way up to standing, and then exhaling the hands to heart center. And continue like that. We've got about 5 more. And same thing. I want you to really feel into, how do your feet feel? How firm do your legs feel? Keep the legs active even as you're moving the upper body through these forward folds, halfway lifts, and lifting yourself up. Really dive into that analogy of stability in your legs and your feet as your upper body moves. The root chakra is all about, like I said, stability. And in terms of our physical body, the root chakra encompasses not just the base of our tailbone, but it also encompasses our legs and our feet and our ankles. These are the things that give us stability as we move through the world. And so I really want you to dial in that awareness today of, how do I feel in my own body? Because very often how we feel in our bodies can reflect how we feel in our lives. One of my teachers says that our yoga mat is a laboratory for the rest of our life. Beautiful. Continue on. You're almost there. Roll yourself up to standing, arms overhead, exhale, hands at heart center. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to come to the top of the mat. My cat Cleo is keeping us company. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold forward, just like we did before. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands and step the right foot back behind you, lower the knee and lift up into your low lunge. Make sure that left knee is directly over the left ankle, and inhale the arms up towards the sky. Let that right hip relax, but don't let the left knee go further forward than the ankle. And breathe here. Breathe deeply, and I want you to really push into the mat with that left foot and the right shin to create, again, more stability. Bring the right hand down to the mat and swivel the left arm up towards the ceiling, coming into your easy side twist in your low lunge. And through this whole process, I really want you to breathe and allow your breath to shape your awareness into your legs and your hips and your feet. Beautiful. Exhale the left hand back to the mat and send the hips back towards the right knee, attempting to straighten the left leg. Inhale forward into low lunge. Exhale back into half split. A couple more times. Inhale forward into half split or low lunge. Exhale back into half split. Find a little bit of fluidity here, even as you have stability in your right shin and your left heel. Beautiful. And then press yourself back into half split and rest here. Maybe lift up halfway, lengthen through the spine, and then fold forward. I've said before, it's totally okay if that left leg doesn't straighten entirely. This is a beautiful stretch to get more space in the back of your legs. So we're all a work in progress here. Inhale forward, back into low lunge. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center, and we're going to twist over to the left. You can stay lifted in the twist, or you can try to bring that right elbow to the left knee. I really want you to focus on twisting through the upper body, keeping your core engaged and secure, trying to keep your hips square to the best of your ability. And you can look wherever is comfortable, whatever doesn't strain your neck. Beautiful. Inhale through back to center, arms up overhead, and then curl the back toes under and lift yourself up into your high lunge. Again, find the stability in your feet. Really send your tailbone down towards the mat, almost like there's a string from your tailbone pulling you down to the mat. You want to let your spine lengthen down towards the ground, and you want to push off the mat with your feet to create stability, to create roots. Bring your hands to your hips and step forward into Tadasana. Inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. You can bend the knees as you need here, maybe bending one knee and then the other, or wiggling the hips. Let the chin tuck into the chest. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, and this time send the left knee back into your low lunge. We're going to do that same thing on the other side. So same principles apply. You're pushing down into the mat through the right foot and the left shin. Your right knee is directly over your right ankle, and you're letting that left hip fall towards the mat. Keep your core nice and corseted in, almost like you could bring your ribs to touch in the middle of your body towards your belly button. And you can inhale the arms up overhead. And then exhale that left hand down to the mat, opening up into your easy twist. Let the right arm reach up to the ceiling. Or pet your cat if you have one keeping you company, like Cleo is keeping me company. Breathe in. Check in with your legs. Check in with your knees. And then bring that right hand down to the mat and send the hips back into your half split pose. Deep breath, inhale forward into low lunge. Exhale back, half split. And again, it's more important that your hips line up with that left knee so they're straight over it than straightening the right leg. I want you to more focus on the fluidity of this motion, feeling the floor steady beneath you as you move. Continue on just like that. Beautiful. And then exhale back into your half split. And here in your half split, don't worry if your right leg isn't straight. Just go to where you feel a stretch and then hang out there. It's all good wherever you are. Keep that right foot flexed. Check in with your hips. Make sure they're nice and square. And lift yourself up into your low lunge. Exhale, hands to heart center. And then we're going to come into a twist. You can just twist over, keeping your arms parallel to the ground, or you can try to bring that left elbow to the right knee. Really try to focus on twisting from your upper body. Keep your legs exactly the same. Keep your core engaged and your hips square. And inhale through back to center. And curl the back toes under. Lift yourself up into a high lunge. Breathe here. Again, same principles to high lunge apply as to low lunge. So front knee over front ankle, pressing through the back foot. Beautiful. Bring your hands to your hips. Spring yourself forward back into Tadasana. Give yourself a wiggle. Wiggle the legs, and then inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant the hands. This time, step back, and we're moving to downward dog. So get there however you want. You can chaturanga to up dog, you can lower to the mat, lift up into cobra, or you can just push back into downward dog, whatever you want. And once you arrive in your downward facing dog, walk it out, bend one knee and then the other. Really push through the thumbs and the palms of the hand. And once again, feel your points of contact on the mat here. Your feet, your hands. Feel that stability of the ground beneath you. See if you can push the ground away with your feet and your hands to make your downward dog more active. Really press your sternum to the mat. And then inhale the left leg up to the ceiling. Open up the hips. Try to stack the left hip on top of the right. Maybe bend the left leg if that feels comfortable and approachable. And then here in this three-legged dog, we're going to make hip circles 3 times in one direction. Doesn't matter how big they are. And then switch direction, 3 circles in the other direction. I like to imagine my knee is painting a circle as I move my hip. Beautiful. Inhale the legs straight into three-legged dog and exhale, hug the knee into the chest. Exhale back, three-legged dog. Inhale, knee to chest. Exhale, three-legged dog. Knee to chest. And three-legged dog. Continue like that. Don't round the back here. Try to keep the back nice and straight. You want to focus on using your core to pull the knee as close to your chest as you can. Almost there. Knee to chest. Once more. Three-legged dog. Knee to chest and plant that left foot in between the hands. Pivot the right foot, the back foot, so it's parallel to the mat. Windmill the arms up into Warrior 2. Double check that you have that heel to arch alignment. The left heel lines up directly with the middle of the arch of the right foot. Make sure your shoulders are over your hips and stretch your arms out to either side. Look over the left fingers and breathe. Push into the mat with your feet. That back right edge of the right foot. The whole of the left foot. Imagine there's roots coming out of your feet into the mat beneath you. And imagine that it adds to your stability. It makes you even more stable. Inhale, straighten the knee, lift the arms, and then exhale back into Warrior 2. Inhale, straighten and lift. Exhale, Warrior 2. These are our Warrior 2 pumps. We've done these a number of times, so continue on like that. Inhaling to straighten the leg and lift the arms. Exhaling, come back into Warrior 2. Keep that knee tractioning right over that second toe of the left foot. Beautiful. Almost there. Last one. Exhale back into Warrior 2. Straighten that left leg. You're going to walk the right foot, just heel toe it in a couple inches. Arms back straight out from your sides. We're going to come into triangle pose. So kick the hips out to the right, reach the left arm, reach until you can't reach it anymore, and then windmill the arms. The left hand can rest on a block on the left shin. You can also just kind of keep the palms straight and use more of your obliques to hold yourself up if you want this to be more active. And then the right arm reaches out to the ceiling and you can look wherever is comfortable. Keep the back and the spine nice and long and still push into the mat with your feet. Activate the legs, lift the knees. Beautiful. And this is where we're coming into half moon. So bring the right hand to the hip, left hand to a block or the floor or maybe a chair or the back of the couch. Press through the left foot and lift the right leg up behind you. Flex the foot and try to stack the right hip on top of the left hip, right shoulder on top of the left shoulder, and try and get a straight line from the bottom of your right foot all the way to the top of your head. You can look wherever's comfortable. Keep your core engaged. Feel the stability of your foot here. If you fall out, come back into it. It's okay that we fall. We're all working on building stability in all of our movement practices. Let that right foot come back to the mat. Bring both hands to the mat. Step back into plank pose and make your way to downward facing dog, however you want. Whatever way feels best to you. Half moon is challenging, so if you just want to pop back to downward dog, that's great. Walk it out once you get there, bending one knee and then the other, really stretching through the shoulders. Make sure the ears line up with the biceps. Breathe. Beautiful. Inhale the right leg up to the ceiling, and maybe exhale, bend the knee. We're just trying to stack the right hip on top of the left, and then we're going to make those hip circles. So imagine the knee is drawing a circle 3 times in one direction, and then switch directions, draw the circle in the opposite way. One way might feel easier than the other. I always find that that's the case. And then straighten the right leg back up to the ceiling and exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, knee to chest. Continue on, just like that. And again, don't curl the back. It might mean that you don't get your knee as close to the chest as maybe you would otherwise, but try to keep the back straight. Use your core to pull the knee forward like a bicep curl. Beautiful, almost there. Plant the right foot between the hands. Pivot the left foot so it's parallel to the short edge of the mat. Press into the feet, windmill the arms up and over, and arrive in your warrior 2. Keep the shoulders nice and broad, relaxed away from the ears. Look over your right fingertips. Beautiful. We're going to move into our warrior 2 pumps. So inhale to lift the arms, straighten the leg. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, straighten leg, lift arms. Exhale, warrior 2. Continue just like that. Aside from the bending of your knee, your feet should not change their place on the mat. Beautiful. Come back to warrior 2. Straighten that right leg, maybe heel toe the left foot in just a little bit to narrow your stance. Arms out to the side, pop the left hips to the left, and reach the right arm out until you can't reach anymore, and then windmill the arms. Right hand comes to the right shin or a block. Left arm reaches up to the ceiling. Bring the left hand to the left hip, bend through the right leg, grab your block if you need it and want it. I always recommend it, and lift up into your half moon. So you're trying to stack the left hip on top of the right hip, left shoulder on top of right shoulder. Keep that left foot super, super flexed and try to create a straight line from the bottom of the left foot all the way to the top of the head. So you're using your glutes, you're using your hamstrings to lift that left leg up. Opening up through the chest. Don't let that top shoulder round in. You want to keep it nice and open towards the ceiling. Beautiful. Bend through the right leg. Let the left foot come back to the mat. Plant the hands. Step back into plank pose and make your way to downward facing dog, however you like. Walk it out once you get there. Take a couple breaths. And then walk the feet to meet the hands. And push through the heels. Lift yourself up into Tadasana. Inhale the arms up overhead and exhale, hands to heart center. Look down at your feet. Make sure they're that nice number 11. And we're going to come back into that mudra again. So interlace the fingers together. Right thumb on top of the left. And let the pinkies stick out forwards. Close your eyes here. And we're going to breathe and reflect here for a second, about halfway through our class. And I want you to bring back whatever it was you thought of at the beginning of class that felt a little unmoored, felt a little looser or unstable. So often in our lives, especially if you're a people pleaser or a perfectionist, it can be easy to let other people determine your stability. Rooting yourself is something that only you can do. For a long time, I sought that stability from other people, which isn't sustainable in the long run because only you can define what safety and stability means for you. The root chakra helps us determine what those things are. And part of things feeling loose and unmoored can often come from a place of us not feeling secure or stable in our own selves, which is a big question, of course, a big thing. But here in this class today, reflect a little on how can I stabilize myself? Is there one little thing I can do to make my existence feel more secure? Think about that as we go through class. You can open your eyes, you can drop the mudra, and we're going to come to the left side of our mats, and we're going to come into tree pose. So transfer the weight into the left foot, and the right foot is going to come either to the left ankle, left shin, or left inner thigh for tree pose. Hands come to heart center, the hips, or you can lift them up overhead like branches of a tree. But wherever you are, press that left foot into the mat, lengthen the tailbone towards the ground. If you fall out, that's always okay. Keep the core nice and engaged, like you're about to let that engagement be what guides you there. Keep the shoulders relaxed and open. If you feel stable and you want to come into a little side bend, you can let the right hand rest on the right thigh and maybe reach over just a little bit to the right. And then wherever you are, we're going to move from tree pose into figure 4 or standing pigeon, which you'll notice this one is a really challenging balancing pose for me. So I usually use the floor or a wall or a block to help me balance. If you need that, do it. And if not, you can stay lifted up with your hands at heart center. If you're not facing the front of your mat, turn to do so now and come back into your pigeon pose. Your standing standing figure 4 pose. Bend that left knee as much as you can and then lift up and send that right foot back. And we're coming into a wide-legged forward fold. So both feet are parallel to the short edge of the mat, about a leg's width apart. Inhale up and exhale, fold forward. Maybe sway side to side here or bend into one knee and the other. Whatever feels good here. You can sway side to side with the torso. You can walk your hands to one foot and then the other to get a more specific stretch. And if you haven't, we're going to come into Skandasana. So begin to bend your knees one at a time. And then bend the right leg all the way down so you come into Skandasana on the right side. If you need a block, if you need to keep the foot lifted, all fine. Lift yourself back through to center. Come to Skandasana on the left side, bending through the left knee, flexing the right foot. Beautiful. Come back into wide-legged forward fold. Press through the heels. Roll yourself up to standing. Heel toe the feet together. And come back to the front of the mat. And I'm going to face you so you can see me. We'll come into tree pose on the other side. So transfer the weight into the right foot. And the left foot is going to come either to the right ankle, the inside of the right shin, or the inside of the right thigh. Find what feels most stable. We are trying to channel a tree here, after all. And again, hands can come to heart center on the hips, or you can lift the arms up overhead like a tree. It's up to you. And all of the same cues apply. Press through the foot, lengthen the tailbone, firm up the core. Find one unmoving object in front of you to help balance. That'll help a little bit with your stability. And again, if you fall out, don't worry about it. Just come back into it. And if you would like to, you can bring your left hand to your left thigh and maybe reach the right arm up and over. You might find this little side tree easier on one side than the other. I know I certainly do. So don't judge yourself here. Just play with it if it feels like something that's interesting. And then from here, we're going to move from tree pose into standing figure 4. So you want to make sure you're facing the front of your mat. I'm just moving so I'm in the correct position. Keep that left foot super flexed, bend through the right knee. And again, if you need a block, if you need to reach your hands down to the mat or need a wall or a couch to help you balance here, do so. And then step the left foot back behind you, coming again into our wide-legged forward fold. So feet about one length's length away and fold forward. Really press through the outsides of the feet here. And once again, start to bend into one knee and then the other. Just gently feeling, how do your legs feel? How do your ankles feel? Your shins? Where do you feel this stretch the most? We're going to come into Skandasana one more time on each side. So bend into the right leg. Flex the left foot. And again, it doesn't matter how far down you go. You might be higher up than me, and that's okay. Come back through to center, bending into the left leg. Skandasana on the left side. And come back through the center. Wide-legged forward fold. Let yourself relax here in your wide-legged forward fold and maybe find some stillness. No swaying or bending the knees. Just rest in the stretch. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen through the whole spine. And exhale down and heel toe the feet so the heels are a little wider than the hips. And we're going to just drop the hips down into Malasana, yogi squat. If you're lifted up higher or further down like me, both are great. Wherever you are, press your heels into your knees, open up through the inner thigh, through the pelvis. Hands together at heart center and try to keep the spine nice and long. Maybe close your eyes here and focus on the feeling of being so close to the ground. You can feel the ground beneath your feet. Malasana is one of the most grounding postures we have in yoga because it opens up our pelvis and really connects us to the ground beneath us. Sit yourself down. We're going to come into facing the long way on our mat with your legs straight out in front of you. We're going to come into a series of forward folds and twists. So give the legs a little wiggle, sit up, make sure your spine is nice and straight here, and then bend the right knee so that the right foot can come to the inner left thigh. It's kind of like a seated tree pose. Janu Shirshasana, one-legged forward fold. Inhale up nice and tall and exhale, fold forward. And as we move through these folds and twists, return to the thought of where can I create stability, security, and safety in my life? This is a big question. So pick a small thing that you can do or address or think about to add a little bit of stability, security, and safety in your life. The root chakra is one of my favorites to work with because so often it can be easy to feel unmoored when we're inundated with so much information, so many opinions all the time. Remembering stability is important. Lift yourself up, and we're going to come into a little twist, twisting towards that right bent knee. So bring the left hand to the right knee, and this isn't a deep twist. Only go to the edge of your range of motion. You can use the right hand behind you to act as a little kickstand or a prop. lifting up nice and straight. Come back through to center. Bring the right knee up, and you're going to bring the right knee to the outside of the left knee. And then the goal here is we want to line up the right knee with the left knee. This might be inaccessible for you, and that's totally fine. Just have that right foot on the outside of the left thigh. If you can stack the knees, great. Bring your hands underneath the left knee to act as a little support. And then if you feel like you can, maybe fold forward. Keep the left foot super flexed through this pose. If you're not folding forward, if your knees don't line up, that's totally fine. This is still a nice stretch in the left leg and in the hip. And lift yourself up. And we're going to come into half hero, which we've done a number of times in this yoga journey. You're going to bring the right foot to the outside of the right hip. You might need to sit on a block for this because you really want to make sure your hips are square. You want to make sure the right knee is straight out from the hip as well. This might feel fine. If you feel like you can without putting unnecessary strain on the knee, you can lift up through the spine and fold forward out of the hips. And lift yourself back up. Bring the right leg so it's straight out in front of you again. Give the hips a little wiggle, give the knees a little wiggle, and then we'll do that whole thing on the other side. So hug the left foot towards the groin into the right thigh and fold forward over that leg. You can sway side to side here if that feels good, but otherwise just rest into your forward fold here. And lift yourself up, and we're going to twist to the left. So bring your right hand to the left knee, twisting gently. And like I said, this isn't going to be an intense twist. You might not go very far, and that's okay. Bring yourself back through to center, and we're going to come into what it's half cow face pose is what it's called. You want to bring that left foot to the outside of the right thigh. You're trying to stack the knees one on top of the other, and if they don't stack, that's totally fine. Just cross the leg in front, sit up nice and tall. If you want to, if you have the range, if you feel like it won't cause any undue stress, bring the hands underneath the right knee, keep the right foot flexed, and maybe fold over your legs. Lift yourself up. And from here, we'll come into half hero on the other side. So this left foot is going to come to the outside of the left thigh. Make sure your hips are square. That left knee is straight out in front of the left hip. And you might need a block. You might just want to sit here and enjoy the stretch, or you can fold forward. Whatever you do, keep the right foot flexed and try and relax through the hips as much as you can. Inhale, lift yourself up. Send both legs out in front of you and maybe windshield wiper the legs side to side or give the knees a wiggle, whatever you need to kind of reset the hips, reset the knees. And then from here, you can finish a normal Shavasana if you would like. But for today's focus, I'm going to suggest a reclined Supta Baddha Konasana with blocks under the knees. And I really do recommend the props. So if you don't have blocks, you can use pillows, you can use books. I just recommend support under the legs here, even if you can hold it, even if you don't have any pain in your hips. There is something about having support that allows your body to relax even more. Sometimes having an assistant like blocks or pillows underneath your thighs here, underneath your knees, actually allows you to get a deeper stretch. Because your body isn't straining, it is relaxing into the stretch. And if that's not an illustration for life, I don't know what is. So come into your Supta Baddha Konasana, heels together, blocks under the knees. Or if that's uncomfortable, you can come into regular Shavasana. Wherever you are, close your eyes. And no matter what that question was that you were pondering earlier about stability and safety and security, let it go for now and just rest here in your Shavasana. Breathe deeply. Let your mind wander for the next several minutes. Take a deep breath in and out through the nose. And if you were in Supta Baddha Konasana, bring the knees together. Make whatever movements you need to gently come out of Shavasana. And join me, when you are ready, back up into a seated position in the middle of your mat. If you would like, you can bring your hands back into that mudra, hands clasped together, right thumb on top, pinkies out, resting your arms by your sides. Take a few deep breaths here. And trust that stability and safety and security can be created within us. It takes effort and time and some perspective shifting, but it is there and it is within our reach. The more you can root yourself in what you know to be true, what you believe, what you need to live in the world, the better of a person you can be. Let the class that we just did together percolate and digest. And when you're ready, you can release the mudra. Let the hands rest on the lap. And take a big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Press the palms together at heart center. And when you're ready, you can open the eyes. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you enjoyed this class. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That's how I know to make more of these. Don't forget to subscribe. We have 8 more days of this 30-day yoga journey together, and I'm so excited to share them with you. We have some real treats coming your way. Until tomorrow, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now.